If you're feeling overwhelmed with the home buying process, you're not alone. Tons of first-time home buyers make critical mistakes every day that cost them thousands of dollars in the long run. So today I'm going to go over the top 10 things that you need to look out for when buying your first home. Hey, what's up? I'm Adam Gillespie and I'm your Colorado Realtor. And if you have any questions about the process of buying or selling any type of real estate, I got you covered on that. All of my contact info is listed below, and subscribe to the channel for more content. So let's get into it. Number one, not getting pre-approved. A lot of people want to just jump out and start looking at houses right away, which is all good. But what happens when you fall in love with that house and you're not pre-approved? And when you do go get pre-approved, you find out either A, you don't qualify, or B, you don't qualify for enough. And that can be detrimental and really put a stick in the whole process of buying a home before you even really get started. So you always want to make sure you get pre-approved first. You want to get with the lender and get them your documents as soon as possible. Most lenders are going to need 2 years tax returns and the last 3 months of check stubs. So if you can get that stuff up in advance and get ready to send it their way, they'll be able to get you that pre-qualification and pre-approval a lot faster, which will help you get into seeing homes quicker. Number two, not hiring a professional. Everybody has that one friend who thinks that they can do everything.
I can do anything.
And I promise you that once you get knee deep into a real estate transaction without having the proper representation, it's not going to be long before you find out that you made a major mistake.
Oh my God!
Our jobs as realtors is to be your fiduciary, your advisor, and your consultant. We want to educate you about the process of purchasing a home so that way you can make good decisions that'll benefit you and your family in the long run. Number three, not considering all the costs. A lot of people don't realize this, but there are more upfront fees than just the down payment when it comes to buying a house. And some things are needed to be paid for before the transaction's complete, like the inspection. The inspector is a third-party company that works for the buyer specifically when you hire him. So when he does his inspection, he's going to need to be paid at the time of completion. And there are other services that he offers that are going to cost additional too, like your sewer scope, your radon test, and any mold testing that you might choose to do. So it's important to consider the cost when doing this. Also, there's the appraisal. The bank's going to want to have an appraisal on the home. This is their way of making sure that what we're offering on the home is going to be comparative to the actual market value of the home. The last thing they want to do is lend you more money than that home's worth. So for that, they need to send out an appraisal, and that's going to cost you money too. And they're going to want that money up front. Some lenders may be able to let you pay for that at closing, but most often than not, they're going to want a credit card number before they even send the appraiser out. So it's important to consider those upfront costs and make sure that you've got the budget set aside for those before you find yourself scrambling for money or dipping into costs that you weren't expecting to come along. Number four, this one's big and it was really popular when the market was super hot and there was multiple offer situations. And that's not getting an inspection or waiving the inspection. This is one of the most critical mistakes that you can make when buying a first home, because we need that inspection to make sure that the home is in fact sound and that everything's functioning properly. The last thing you'd ever want as a home buyer is to waive that inspection and find out after you've moved in that there's something wrong with the foundation, which could cost you anywhere from $30,000 to $50,000 to repair, depending on how bad it is.
No, God!
There's other things too, like the sewer line. This is one of the most common things that we find in inspections that end up having a problem, and they can be very expensive to fix. If you need a full sewer line replacement, that's 30 grand all day long.
God, please, no, no!
So if you fail to get the inspection or you choose not to get the inspection and you don't check out that sewer line, you could find yourself owing a bunch of money just to get your house functional. And that's the last thing that you'd want as a first-time home buyer. Number five, ignoring the neighborhood. This is a big one too, because even though it might be the home of your dreams, you need to make sure that you're looking into things like what the crime rate's like, driving by the neighborhood at night, on the weekends. That's one of the big things I recommend, because you want to see what the neighborhood looks like before you're spending upwards of $500,000 on something. The last thing you want is to be in a situation where you don't agree with the activity of the neighborhood.
What are you doing?
Yeah. We're throwing a Robert De Niro party. Oh.
So it's important for you as a home buyer to make sure that you're doing your due diligence and looking at the crime statistics and making sure that this is in fact a neighborhood that's going to meet what you guys are looking for. Number six, you need to be flexible. This is your first home, so it's not going to be your dream home. So unless you're loaded and you've got cash down, you're probably going to have to settle in some areas to get something that works for now, so you can use this equity down the line to move up to your dream home. A lot of first-time home buyers don't get that. They want to get the perfect home right out the gate, and it's just not the case. So you're going to need to dig deep and look within yourself and decide what you're willing to settle with and what your must-haves are. And if you can get clear with that, it'll be much easier deciding on which home is going to be perfect for you as your first home. Okay, number 7, overlooking maintenance costs. The last thing you want to do is find yourself in a situation where you need to come up with a bunch of money unexpected because you overlooked the maintenance costs. And this is going to be like things with like furnace replacement, roof replacement, sewer line repairs. So this is what makes the inspection so important as well, is to find out what the age and the usable life or life that's left in that is. So that way you can make the proper determination on whether we need to ask the seller to repair or replace those, or if we just need to move on completely.
Shut this whole thing down right now.
If you've got a 16-year-old roof when the typical usable life of a roof is only 20 years old, you might find out that your new insurance company either won't insure that roof at all, or they'll only cover a small percentage of it because the majority of the usable life of that roof has already passed before they started insuring it. Number 8 is not understanding the home buying process and the order of the steps that we need to take, which that's where I come in. I'll help you through every step of the way. I'll walk you through. You're going to understand every single step before we move to the next step, because like I said, my job is to educate and inform you about the process of real estate so that way you can make good decisions. Number 9. This one's important too, and that's making emotional-based decisions.
I'm not mad.
The home buying process can get stressful, especially if we're not finding what you want and things aren't working and we're approaching the end of your lease and we're trying to time the purchase of your house and you being done with your lease to coincide with each other so that way you don't have to move twice. Things can get stressful when that starts to happen, and it's important that you keep an emotional neutral going so that way you don't make bad decisions that are based on emotion instead of logic and fact.
I'm calm.
Once again, that's where I come in. I'm here to help you keep a level head. It's my job to help make sure that we're looking at some of the other things that are not emotional driven, that are driven by logic and facts. So that way we can put those two things together and see if this is going to be the right home for you. Number 10, not planning for the future. It's important to realize as you're buying your first home that we want to make sure we consider resale value at the end. You want to be able to leverage the equity that you gain in your home over time to help you purchase your next investment property or a new home down the road. So whether you decide to become a landlord and rent this house out, or you sell it and take that equity and have a nice big down payment on your next house, you want to make sure you maximize that. So plan for the future and look at resale value as you're looking at homes. All right, there it is. That's the 10 major things that you want to look out for when buying your first home. If you follow these tips, you're going to avoid the critical mistakes that can cost you thousands of dollars in the long run and make sure that this first home works well for you and you can leverage it to buy your next home in the future. Once again, I'm Adam Gillespie. I'm your Colorado Realtor. If you like the content that you saw today or you have any questions, feel free to give me a call or a comment below. I have all my contact information listed below, and subscribe to my channel for more content weekly. And I hope you have a great rest of your day.